Big patch just got announced and I didn't see this coming, but we are getting stuff like armor. There's a bunch of nerfs, new heroes. So let's take a look at it together. I'm going to give you my honest thoughts and opinions. Enough rambling, let's see the new shit. So I'm mainly just going to look at the Battlegrounds updates. First of all, introducing a new armor system. So starting in patch 21.8, Battlegrounds heroes will be awarded with armor at the start of each game to help balance and spice up the tavern. That is interesting. It's at the start of each game, so it's not something that you gain over time, I assume. All heroes will get a random amount of armor within a range based from their power levels, with the strongest heroes getting 0 armor and the weakest heroes being eligible for up to 10 armor. At launch, these will be the armor ranges and placements. And here's an entire list of all of the heroes with how much armor they're gonna get. So these are tier 1 heroes, they won't get any armor, and obviously they're the strong heroes with a high win rate. Now it does also include heroes like Flurgle, which is pretty funny to see amongst like Hooktusk and Gendis. Then tier 2, these are like average heroes. I think Katoon shouldn't be in here. There's a couple heroes that like N'Zoth, I don't know what N'Zoth is doing here. So I don't know what metric they use. Like, did it just use win rate for top 50%? I think they definitely should like mess around with these a bit. Maybe take a look at tier lists, but at least we're getting somewhat of an idea of what heroes they consider strong and weak. No, tier 3, 4, 5, 6, and the worst heroes are like AFK. Arana is in here, did not see that coming. And then Lich. What I also find funny is Patchwork is getting armor, even though his hero power already gives him health. Obviously, that was something people suggested before, like give weak heroes more health, and I didn't like that because it's just gonna make games longer for no reason. So this update alone is gonna make games longer, make games grittier. It's just gonna switch up the lobbies a lot and just, yeah, make it a bit more grindy. What I don't like is that this is their solution to nerfing or buffing stuff. I still think this doesn't matter. Whether you have 30 health, 40 or 50, you still lose to a Shudderwock with 3 6 drops on turn 6. You still lose to Hooktusk with super early 5 triples, you know, multiple 5 drops. Like Janus with token on 1 is still a problem, doesn't need armor. Whether Janus has 40 health or 30, as long as you don't die, you win the lobby. So the armor actually isn't that big of a deal. The issue is still that high roll heroes have tokens early on, spike really hard. I don't think the armor is gonna save the weak heroes that much. I think they should still nerf and buff heroes and not just slap armor onto it as a solution, as a band-aid. But I do think it will be interesting to see where or what this evolves into. So it seems like it will stay in Battlegrounds, that it's a core concept that is not just an event. So I'm a little bit scared of that. I don't like this solution too much, but it's too early. I need to see it in action, and maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, of course. But let me know what you think down below, and let's move on because there's way more than just armor in Battlegrounds. So we got a new hero, Tamsin. Okay. Now, start of combat, destroy your lowest health minion. Give its health to all your others. This just seems bad. This seems literally like it's griefing yourself. You can't play selfless heroes in the end game, because if you do, you can't press your button, or you would eat your selfless hero at the start of combat. So it's 0 gold, you press this, and then once the combat begins, your smallest unit on the board gets eaten and given to all your other minions. But early on it seems strong because you are down a unit. So technically what happens is you press this button, you lose 1 gold because, well, you don't sell the minion, it just disappears, right? You also lose a unit on your board, which can be valuable, so you will never have a full board. You will always be like down a couple units compared to other people. Now, it might be strong early because let's say you have something with 4 HP. If you hero power and it eats that, it's going to give 4 HP to all your other units. So if you have 5 other units, that's 20 HP that you give across the board. In that sense, it is strong. Like 1 gold for 20 HP, sure. But it's also your lowest health minion. So that means that you very often just like a 2 or a 3 early on. So it's not going to be that big. Now, it's a hard one to think about, but also I think it scales up rather quickly, because as soon as you hero powered once, then all your other units on the board should have pretty high health. So whatever you put on the board, you know, should be eaten then. I don't know, I don't think I like it too much. It seems like a hero that could like be potentially strong for a couple turns in the early mid game. This doesn't seem something like you can make too good of a build around, unless actually you can just end on Battle Moss at the end of the turn, eat it, and do that repeatedly every turn and get like 30 HP on across the board, right? Because all your other units are going to have massive HP. So I think there is probably some sort of strategy. It makes things awkward late game, because tech cards will always be your lowest HP cards, and then you can't hero power anymore or scale up. I actually don't know. This is really hard to judge. I think there's a lot of good things and bad things about this hero, and I need to play with it. I need to know how consistent it is and how much it's gonna screw you over instead of help you out. But I think it is an interesting design. It's definitely cool. It is more complex than I initially thought, so well, props to them. Diablo will be sticking around a bit longer. I think most people wanted Diablo gone. It's not been that fun of a hero, and the event itself, the lobbies are a little bit annoying. But I guess they want to keep it, so what are we supposed to do? Wait, I didn't read this though. To help with that, 3 of the Diablo treasures have been changed, which is just buffs. Tier 1, yeah, it's just buffs to Diablo. It just makes the spell stronger, I guess. So instead of 1 damage, it's 2 damage. Instead of +2 +2 is +4 +4. So all they did was just buff the Diablo spell. So Diablo might actually be a strong hero now, because he is almost at the edge of playable. I had some good games with him as well since his latest buff where he spawns bigger units on the board. This is gonna be so toxic. Now here's something I overlooked while recording this, but Bristleback Knight, the tier 5 quilboar with Divine Shield, got removed. I don't really know why, but sure, I guess. Mythrax is now back. People have been begging for Mythrax and it's back, so maybe Menagerie makes a comeback. This is huge, and I think actually might make tier 5 really good again. And Turncaller is also back, the tier 3 quilboar, I mean, that they removed or took out for the other tier 3 quilboar, which is pretty good because, well, Turncaller was a really good card. Even flexible on a board, it allows you to pivot into quilboar, so maybe the tribe will become better now. Now, Minion pool, the first card we see appears Mechanotank, and I'm happy. Now, it was a 6-3, Avenge 2, deal 6 damage. A lot of complaining, finally a change. 5-3, Avenge 2, deal 5. So they like bumped down the attack by 1, and it still deals 5 damage on Avenge. So sure, that's a nerf. Is that gonna be enough? I want to say no, because in the mid game, whether you deal 6 or 5 to units is not that big of a deal. It's more just the flexibility of this card. Again, like I mentioned, it's a mech. It transitions well into any sort of mech comp. There's a multiple reasons why Mechanotank is strong, not just this. At least I'm happy it got nerfed. At least it will be tuned down, but it will still be toxic to face. It will still be a strong card, I believe. Greasebot. Okay, this card had to be nerfed as well. I'm happy to see this. And it's now +1/+1 instead of +2/+2 whenever a card loses Divine Shield. I think that's the only change, which is good. This is what I suggested. I think the scaling of this was just too broken, too good. It's still a good card. I would still take it from time to time, but now the mech comps are gonna shift probably more towards Buster comps again. Right now, Buster was nerfed, and the best comps is like Mackerels, Deflectables, Divine Shields with a Greasebot to buff it up. But now there's actually more value into hitting a spike with Deflectable and scaling up your mechs that way. So I like this. I do like this change. I think Greasebot is an okay card, and by nerfing this, they kind of buff Lightfang, because you know, this was strictly a better Lightfang, and if they nerf some other cards, if you scroll down, if there's more scaling that they nerf on tier 3 and 4, then maybe a Lightfang and Menagerie might make a comeback. They buffed Scallywag to 3 attack. Yoho is now a 3/5 instead of a 2/6. Why? Did they think this has too much HP? I don't really know why they made this change. I think Yoho was fine. Is this supposed to be a buff or a nerf? I think it's more of a buff, moving the 1 HP to the 1 attack. But I guess they're overall trying to buff early pirates a little bit. Yeah, this makes less sense to me, but there's probably a reason for it. And Savjz Strong Arm now give a friendly pirate +1/+1. Repeat for each pirate you bought. So even if you didn't buy a pirate, this will give an extra +1/+1. It's kind of like the Major Domo buff, where Domo gave 0 buffs unless you played elementals, but now Domo always gives you an extra buff, even if you didn't play an elemental. So Savjz Strong Arm is just going to give you an extra +1/+1, kind of buffing pirates, which, sure, I like it. And Captain moved from a 4/5 to a 4/6. They're really buffing pirates. Sure, I think pirates still run into the same issues, even though they keep getting buffed. Like, they've seen multiple buffs over time, not really nerfs, because they've always been bad, because they lose the Divine Shields, they lose the poison. None of this changes any of that. It just makes the early tempo stronger. But I think pirates already had a lot of early tempo. The issue is that they need hoggers, and hoggers are so slow. You need to find not just 1 hogger but 2, and then you need to pop off, hit the other cards. You need time. By then you're dead. The meta is too fast. Things are going too fast. Maybe the armor change helps, because now you get armor, so technically you have like a bit of like time to make stuff of this work before you die. And then there's Tony as well, who is now Avenge 4, so they moved it from Avenge 5 to 4, making it easier to trigger, and that's it. Okay, Tough Dusk moved from a 4-3 to a 5-3. That is so toxic. Dude, Tough Dusk is already too strong. I feel like they gotta nerf this instead. But now quilboars need a buff, okay? Or quilboars need to be changed. Or I think better way to put it is other tribes need to be nerfed. I think quilboar power level is fine. Other power levels are just way too high. So they gotta nerf other stuff. But yeah, they're apparently buffing weak things instead. And dude, this is a 2-drop. A 2-drop 5-3 compared to any other 2-drop stat line wise. Like this is more than most 2-drops. Plus, give it a gem and it has Divine Shield. So if you gem it up, it's a 6-4 Divine Shield on tier 2. So on turn 3, you know, you just buy a unit on turn 1, then you level, and then you, let's say you bought a Sunbake, you sell it, buy this guy, buy another guy. Turn 3, you have a 6-4 Divine Shield card. Like, you can't win against this. If you face this, you'll lose. So Bristleback Brood got, like, changed a couple times. It was a 4-4, now it's back to a 3-3. And it's also back to giving +3/+3 when you play a Blood Gem. Previously, it was +2/+2. So now, it once again is gonna get an extra +1/+1 whenever you play a gem on it. Once a turn, of course. So sure, we saw this Bristleback Brood before. It was a strong card. It's probably going to be a strong card again. Dynamic Duo got buffed again. It was first a 3-4, then it was a 4-5, now it's a 5-6. Okay, sure. Necrolite went to tier 4. Oh wait, they nerfed Necrolite. No, wait, they changed the way it works. Battlecry, choose a friendly minion. It steals all blood gems. That's what it was, right? You could like move blood gems. Now it is Battlecry, play 2 blood gems on a friendly minion. It steals all blood gems from its neighbors. The wording is pretty confusing, but I think what this means is you just play 2 extra blood gems on a card and it still steals the blood gems. So basically an extra +2/+2, that's it. They just added a +2/+2 buff to Necrolite, and that, I guess, justified it to move it to tier 4. So yeah, it's still the same card, just a little bit with an extra buff. And that's it for Battlegrounds. So I think Light Flame meta is still not gonna happen. Quilboars might see play again. They seem pretty strong, like all these buffs. I think Pirates will still stay relatively the same. And then Max got a little bit of a hit. Max will always be good as long as they have the Flectobot, honestly. Tamsin, gotta think about. I'm not entirely sure. I think it will be okay early mid game. There might be some strategy, but I think late game it will be more of a second place hero than a first place hero, because you can't really make it work unless there's some sort of power level strategy that you could do with this. But again, I have to see it in action or think about it more. The armor, again, I'm not a big fan of. I think they gotta address different issues instead of just add armor. It's like the damage cap. The damage cap is okay. I like it. It's healthy in the game. But it was their solution, kind of, to beat Hyrule. But Hyrule is still there. It's just now delayed and people die a turn later. This is the same. This is added lengths onto the damage cap, so they are kind of making games longer and longer and longer, but that's not gonna, like, it's still a tempo meta. So it's interesting. There's so much early aggression that they try to fight instead of nerfing early aggression and buffing like late game stuff. Instead they try to, you know, make it so people live longer, but that doesn't change anything in my mind. Let me see if I missed anything, if there's any other bug fixes or release dates. Lots of mercenary bugs being fixed. Oh, here's a Battlegrounds one. Fixed a bug where Battlegrounds party invites would not send if the receiving player was editing a deck. Fixed a bug where the loading screen wheel would appear zoomed in if a player joined the Battlegrounds party while spectating a game. Updated Edwin Sharpened Blade Battlegrounds hero power to reflect that it's restricted to friendly minions only. Fixed a bug where minions that had their blood gem stolen by Necrolite no longer have +0/+0 enchantment banner. That's good. Fixed an extremely rare occurrence where minions' health could get so large in Battlegrounds it could be deleted from the warband entirely. Oh, they fixed the fact, like, there's a floor that as soon, or a ceiling I should say, as soon as a big number is reached, the game couldn't keep track of it, so it just killed the minion. I've seen it before. That is fixed now. And that's it. There's a lot of bugs that I'm not going to mention again, that I mention every time, that need to be fixed. We'll wait and see when that is fixed, I guess. Okay, that's it. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, or leave a like. And let's discuss down below what you think. I love reading all of your thoughts, and I want to see if you agree or disagree with some of my ideas. I'll see you next time. Good luck in the Battlegrounds.